Yams in her new picture.
Oh my
Who?
God.
Who?
Nothing.
All right, so let's get into this Samantha Ponder situation and RG3. RG3, for those of y'all and all the ladies that's not familiar, RG3 is
Used to be
former.
the GOAT of the Redskins.
I don't know about the GOAT, but uh,
Nigga
He
for
was the
one
GOAT.
for 8 games, nigga.
No, he was the GOAT until they let him bust up that knee. But go ahead.
but they not really focused on him. They focus on Samantha Ponder, right? So Samantha
Okay.
Ponder uh worked for ESPN, her and RG3, and they had the highest ratings last year, or the highest ratings in the history of that show. ESPN fired them both, and they're saying that, and the narrative is that ESPN made a mistake, and Samantha Ponder started espousing her thoughts about the fact that she does not believe in men being in women's sports, transgender, so on and so forth. And so people are saying that ESPN made a mistake. Sage Steele came out and she supported her, and she's going viral as a result of it. Let me bring y'all up to speed on what she said in particular.
So it's been a couple hours since I saw the news that ESPN decided to fire Samantha Ponder for cost-cutting reasons. You know what? I'm not going to even waste any time talking about ESPN. I need to make sure that you all know who Samantha Ponder is. You've watched her for years, and she's an incredible talent. But that's the least important thing about her. This woman is so strong. I met her when we co-hosted the Scripps National Spelling Bee in DC 100 years ago. And back then she was still Samantha Steele. So we were like, oh yeah, we're twinsies. Sage Steele, Samantha Steele. We look exactly the same too. And we've been connected at the hip ever since, mainly because of our similar values and our faith. Samantha has taught me so much about God, about scripture, about the Bible, about not giving up, and about standing tall. And you know what? She's done that for the last several years at ESPN, even when it was hard. When I was still there, we talked about it all the time. And I just need everyone to know this is a brilliant woman, an incredible mother who's also made me a better mother, for sure. Sam, don't deny that. And I'm so excited for her future. It's so scary when you're in it and you don't think there's any way that you're going to ever be okay. Sam already knows that this is such a blessing that God is bestowing upon her, because there's so much more for her to do. And I'm just honored to call her a dear friend, and so damn proud of what she's done and how she's done it this entire time. So this is another loss for ESPN, but it is a gain for literally the rest of the world, because now you're going to see the true Sam Ponder. It's all going to come out, and I hope you're ready. She is a gem, and I'm honored to call her a friend. I love you, girl.
So, ESPN fires Samantha Ponder. RG3 is an afterthought. He was joking about it on X and Instagram, saying that he got fired on his day off. What do y'all think about this? What are y'all initial thoughts with regard to this?
Go ahead, Quentin.
And obviously, of course, like they said in the chat, ESPN is under Disney. So,
Yes.
My initial thoughts about Sage, I don't know in what world it's getting fired a blessing, but whatever. we can start there. I don't. When I saw the title, the last name is what popped up to me. Her husband used to be he's like a Florida State quarterback and the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings or something. But I never heard of this woman.
who Samantha Ponder? She was
Yeah, I never heard of her.
a co-host with RG3, if I'm not mistaken, for NFL Live or something like that.
I don't
And
watch
the
NFL.
ironic part about it is they fired them right before the season is about to start, which is interesting. So,
Well, they took him off their air a while ago, but I did notice just like watching RG3's like his live stream and stuff. Like I'm like, this is not what ESPN stands for. Like the stuff he be talking and stuff. And I always thought that kind of weird. His the narratives that he pushed along. I
well,
was like,
he's
this.
he's a very liberal person, tolerant. You know, I like to say that he gay, but that's just me.
What? Have you seen his wife?
No, when I say gay, I'm not talking about who he's like sexually
Happy,
in bed with. I'm talking about like his
happy.
demeanor, the fact that anything goes. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of people that he's like a person that doesn't really have standards. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to societal norms, guys should be able to use girls' bathrooms. He's that one of those type of people to me. You know what I'm saying?
I, I, I think
He's a
most
go along, get
liberals.
alonger.
I think a liberal, like being a liberal, I don't think it's like a choice. Like it's a temperament. Like
What?
it's your like liberals, people with liberal minded, they're more creative. Conservatives are more productive, conscious people. I think it's your temperament. I don't think it has anything to do with what you decide to do. I think it's who you are on the inside. No,
Mm.
like
No,
Well,
most liberals are like they're like
I'm very
flighty, they're
creative.
creative, they're all over the space. Like I think I think liberals and we need one another. Like they're the creative type, and then the conservatives are the one that put all the new stuff in order because conservatives like are status quo. This is what it is. We ain't changing, but we need these flighty motherfuckers with
no,
new
But
ideas
why you
to
can't? But
push
why you
us.
can't have duality?
wait,
Why
wait, wait,
can't
wait,
you
wait.
do
Conservative
both?
to be a conservative has nothing to do with your creative side. To be a
I didn't. No,
conservative,
that's the liberal. That's the liberal people are the creative people. That's
no, no,
liberal.
no, no. What I'm
Conservatives.
saying is, conservatives are
They're
creative
nuts.
also. To be a conservative is your values. It has nothing to do with your abilities. Like just because you're a hippie don't mean that you're creative. Some of the motherfuckers is trash at what they do.
I said they're nuts.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can be conservative and still be great at what you do. Your ability to do what you do has nothing to do with your value system. So because I believe in a marriage between a man and a woman doesn't mean that I'm any less creative. I don't know if that makes sense.
I'm just like what I see in liberal people and conservative people. These are. I think
But
it has.
I think anytime it goes to two extremes, it gets out of whack, right? Because people that are far right are extreme, and then people that are far left are extreme. I think if you focus somewhere in the middle, you're usually more grounded. But most people nowadays are just far left or far right. But as far as RG3, I liked him. Like I said, when he was playing for the Redskins. I don't know anything about him coming.
I don't.
That's all I got.
He was
Quinn
the one.
says he don't know in what world getting fired is a blessing. I think
Oh
that
no! A lot of the times you can
I
get
know you can
fired
see
from.
silver linings out of anything, but
No, no,
nigga,
no,
let's
no. You can. A
like
lot
it's
of the
only a
times,
blessing with niggas who got money to make it through the bad times on the way to your next
no,
job.
no. Quentin. A lot of the times, people be holding on to
No, no,
that they.
stop,
No,
stop. I'm not
listen,
gonna let you do
listen.
this. The niggas living
Yes,
paycheck to paycheck ain't no
no.
world getting fired a blessing, nigga.
Yes, you gotta listen. You gotta listen. A lot of the times, people will hold on to those dead end jobs because of that, right? And they're not able to do the transition because they're holding on to the dead end job where they're making no money or living paycheck to
They're
paycheck.
not holding on to anything. That's what their abilities allow them to do. If you live in paycheck ability, that's because you ain't got nothing. You ain't got
No,
nothing
that's
else.
just your
And if I get
mindset.
fired
You
today
live
and
a
I don't get
scarcity.
my shit in 2 weeks,
You have a
it
scarcity
ain't no
mindset.
blessing.
You can do whatever you want to do as far as working or as far as coming up with something.
No,
Most people are
we're gonna
just too
play that
lazy to
tonight. You can
actually.
do whatever you
Most
want to
people don't
do.
want to step out and do it. Most
I
people don't want to
know
step.
I can be what I want to be. If you work hard at it,
no.
You
I think that it can't be a blessing a lot of times because like I'll give you an example. I think that the best thing that ever happened to Candace Owens was getting fired from leaving Ben Shapiro, and I forgot whatever the name of it was. But Candace Owens is thriving now. She is absolutely thriving. They needed her, not the other way around.
But she wouldn't have left. That's why she
Correct.
needed to get.
That's my point.
That's
Is
what I was
that
just saying.
Candace Owens not being under
you
I gotta
said
figure
you
out what the
said a
name of it
dead end
is.
job. She wasn't at a dead end job previous.
No,
But her not
but
no,
she
her
wasn't at
not
her
being
full
under that,
potential. She
her
wasn't at
not
her
being
full
under
potential.
that is a blessing. Shannon Sharp not being under Fox Sports One is a blessing. You know what I'm saying? When you see certain people start to step out, I think that what you start to see is that you'll see the difference between those that are actually talented and those that aren't.
And I'm speaking about for
The
the
Daily
ones that are
Wire. The Daily Wire. Shout out to y'all in the chat.
the normal niggas that work at McDonald's and got fired. It's not a
And there's
fucking
plenty of
blessing.
talented people at McDonald's. They just scared. A lot of people have a scarcity
They
mindset.
scared where to go to Chick-fil-A.
I think that the best thing that ever happened to me was losing my job at the steel mill. Was getting fired. It was the
But you
best
made a
thing that
shit
ever
ton of
happened to me.
money at the steel mill. What you
I
mean?
went, yeah, I made a ton of, but that was the whole thing though. No, it was 10 times worse because it's worse to have it be dependent on it, adjust your lifestyle to it, and then don't have it anymore and it's gone like that. Because I went broke, right? And I went so broke that I got all of my cars repossessed and everything like that, right? But it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, especially to men in particular, because I think that the suffering is what then gets you to where you to be. I'm not sure that I'm the version of me today that I am. I've always felt like I was gonna be rich or I was gonna be successful. And I'm not sure I'm as influential and I'm forced into the spaces that I am if I'm not in that uncomfortable situation. I needed everything that happened to me to push me to where I am today. It was the biggest
Took a
blessing in
cost.
my life. I mean, you don't see the manifestation of it until much later, but the blessing is in it because it forces you to be resourceful and then to lean on the things that you've learned your entire. Let's think about it like this. We've learned lessons our entire life. Our whole lives, from the time that we was born to with our parents, all of the lessons that we taught, and then we get comfortable, and I'm talking about as regular people. Forget the Samantha Ponders and all of that. We get comfortable because somebody give us an opportunity. That opportunity was not supposed to be for you to get comfortable. It was supposed to be for you to look at it as a resource to leapfrog into the next thing. And so what we've done as a society, and this is my opinion, what we've done as society is we've made our identity our jobs. So when somebody walk up to you and they say, "Hey, what's going on? What's your name? What's going? Who are you?" Oh, I'm Anton. I'm a software engineer. I work at the first thing that we generally tend to do is we lean on the thing that we do for a living to validate ourselves in the eyes of somebody that meets us. What position that we hold, what's the name of our job, what title that they've given us. You are not your job. Your job, it may give you a title so that you can, identify whatever hierarchy you are inside of the organization, but you are much more talented than your job. If you telling me, Quentin, for example, that you are what you do for a living outside of the content creation, I'm gonna say that's bullshit. Because what we found out just live streaming over the long time that we've known each other is that you are much more unique and much more creative than what you do for a living. I would not define you,
Yeah.
Quentin, by what you do on your regular day job. No fucking
Yes.
way. I would look at you and say that's what he do there so that he can really be who he is outside of there. I think that you're incredibly talented, but we would have never even seen the maturation of you as far as even being a content creator and sharing your life and sharing your thoughts had we not, had you not had the opportunity to do that and start to embrace it, right? So I don't look at you as what you do for a living. I absolutely think that that's just the way in which you make money. 100%. Most of us have settled on the salary that we make and the position that they've given us as far as a title. But we are so much more than that. And then you don't really get
Hmm.
the opportunity to do that unless you get pushed out into the water. Can't even tell how well
Yep.
you can swim. No way you can ever say that I am whatever position that I've ever held in corporate.
I agree. Where are you
No
laughing
way.
at me?
Your face. Go. No
I'm
worries.
listening. What you mean? That's
I'm
rude,
just saying.
man.
I think that the
Yeah.
biggest blessing, and sometimes we don't see what the blessing is until later, because the only thing we focus on is what our current circumstances are. Listen, I'll tell you what. The worst thing that could have ever happened to ESPN is for people to realize that they much better than ESPN as being independent.
Yep.
Because I don't
Even
think
I
that.
even RG is like I like his stuff on his IG that he do. Because once they kicked him off the show, they might as well should have fired him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
But
that's true.
once they kicked him off the show, he started going live on IG and doing stuff more there. And I was like,
Well, think about it like this. Honestly, I don't think that the news is better than me. I don't. I don't think that they can run a platform as good as me. I think that my news show in the morning is better than any of these new shows that's on major networks. I think that news companies are shaking in their boots with individual content creators, and that's why they're trying to recruit us now and they're trying to partner with us, because we are much more creative and we're much better than them. And all you got to remember that when you look at these major networks, all you looking at is a bunch of people and producers in the background coming up with ideas to try to stay relevant. They're no different than us. They just got to compete with us. And so the minute that we figured out, or I'm gonna just use myself for example, the minute that I figured out, wait a minute, I can buy my own studio, I can put my own money up, I can bring up my own team. I don't need none of them.
Why
We,
now?
we
Like,
better
why
than
is it?
them.
Yeah, but
Why is it
they'll
like
conquer
they've
you.
never
They'll
reached out
conquer
to
you
the
once you.
content space like this like ever before? It's like hardcore this election season.
You said why now? What?
Like why now? Like content creation has been around forever, but like it's like hardcore. They're reaching out to people now.
Because it's bothering their ratings. When it bothers the bottom line, that's when they'll start looking at what's happening. It's
Well,
the same thing happening in the music industry.
you were 100% right,
Yeah.
Mika. 1000%. Because why would they spend money on trying to get an A&R and trying to make sure that they work on you as an individual when they can go out and see somebody that already got motion and movement and they can just adopt them and have them bring their own platform into that particular news network. I already got my own motion. But see, now the problem with that is I'm 100% owned by myself. And so it's hard for you to say to me, to pitch me like a regular person, because I don't need you.
I don't think ESPN has the clout in that space like they used to
They
anymore.
have no clout.
And like everyone hates it there. It's like a plantation vibes for work type of thing.
I mean, but see but that's why a lot of those corporations will go to certain content creators
Hmm.
that don't know their worth or don't know what their brand is worth, and they'll offer them a big bag, maybe a bag bigger than they've had before, to
Well,
to own all of their stuff. They do the same thing. They do the same thing to artists, and it's really like you could have just stayed independent and got all this money yourself.
well,
It's just
I think that it is a space for um signing with bigger platforms because to be independent, you actually got to work. To be on a major or signed to some or a major network, whether it's a major network or major label, you get assistance. You get the machine, and all the machine
But you
is
pay for the machine too.
I
They eat
agree.
out for everything 360. So when you look at it, you might get to, as an artist, yeah, you're not gonna make it on Vogue or something like that, right?
Right.
Unless you are connected with the machine, because they all, one hand washes the other. But you don't need Vogue. Megan Thee Stallion is a perfect example. She's on Vogue and about every other platform you can think about, and can't sell more than 20,000 copies.
Yeah, but the problem with that though, Mika, is that a lot of people have difficulty working it themselves. It takes a lot of work. People are not willing to put in the type of work that you would have to put in if you don't have the machine behind you.